Today I'm with Alejandra and Maria. Maria, you reached out to me recently on social media because I interviewed your cousin Jennifer about a month ago, and you wanted to have a conversation to give me and the viewers of Lost in Phoenix a little bit of background on Jennifer and how she ended up out there. So tell us a little bit about Jennifer.
So Jennifer is our cousin. This is my sister. She is my mom's sister's daughter. We grew up together. We are about the same age. My sister is the same age as she is. So we actually follow you on TikTok, and we saw Jennifer. We saw one of her videos, and my sister was actually the one that sent it to me. So I reached out to you just to kind of raise awareness and let everybody know a little bit of maybe her background and how she ended up in that situation, and also how, it affected us as well. So.
And what was the background as far as, like, did she have a troubled childhood that caused some trauma?
Yeah, she did. She unfortunately didn't have the best parents. She didn't grow up in the best areas either. She did suffer from abuse from her own dad, and she grew up in a very unstable home, where mom was always out working. Mom would have, she had domestic abuse from dad, and sister was in and out of the house, older sister, and oldest brother in and out of the system, juvie, jail, prison, the younger brother as well. So she just grew up in a very unstable home with a lot of abuse.
So that abuse at the hands of her father, unfortunately, that caused trauma that she's been trying to numb ever since, perhaps?
Yes. I saw in your TikTok video where she says that she tries to numb it. And I know exactly what she means, like what she's trying to numb. Not just the fact that she got her kids taken away, but also the abuse and that childhood she had.
We can relate to that. We can relate to the abuse that she's experienced from the same person. So I just kind of like to let people know, there's two different routes. You can take the route of, I'm gonna go to the streets and start doing drugs and do nothing with ourselves, you know what I mean? Or you can take the route of, no, I went through this, it affected me, I didn't have the support, but I'm gonna pick myself up, and you're going to get an education, get a job, like my sister's case, she is a stay-at-home mom, but she has a wonderful husband, she has 2 children, she's an amazing mother. Like, she chose that route, and I feel like it's a decision. Myself, I'm a medical assistant, I have my little side hustle, like I do things, beauty related, and I'm not married yet, but I'm engaged. So it's like, you choose that life. Like, you can't, I understand it's traumatic, but you can't necessarily just take the easy way out.
Yeah, that's why, like, I see how my cousin's out in the street, both of them, and I'm just like, me and Jennifer would always say how we wanted to have the same life, because we grew up together, we were always together, and we would always say, like, oh, well, we want to have our kids so our kids can grow up together, we want to be married, and like we're gonna travel and do all these, like, family things and grow up together with our kids. And she said it in the interview too.
Yeah,
she was like that she always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and like have her kids, and she had her kids, she had her boys and her girl, and unfortunately she lost them. And I really, really had like the highest hopes that she was gonna
Come around.
choose a different route, because I thought she would change because, like, for her kids. I really thought she was.
So let me recap. You guys both stated that you can relate to Jennifer because you went through the same trauma at an early age from her father, unfortunately.
Mine started at 6 years old.
6 years old at the hands of her father, unfortunately.
And the older brother.
and the older brother to
Yeah.
boot. And so you guys are saying that that's very traumatic, but you can still overcome that trauma and decide not to go down the road of using drugs and throwing away your family. And in her case, 3 children. She has 3 beautiful children that are without a mom because she isn't able to cope with the trauma that she experienced at a young age. And that's really unfortunate, really sad. But you guys are the opposite, able to overcome it, able to cope with it, right? Maria, you mentioned that through therapy,
Right.
that's really helped you a lot. Alejandra, you haven't gone to therapy, but Maria said you're a little bit stronger. You're stronger willed and you're able to cope with it on your own. And as humans, we're able to sometimes, cope with the trauma differently. And some aren't, unfortunately, right? We see that with Jennifer. And not only Jennifer, but she has a sister.
Right.
Jessica is out there as well.
Yeah.
I just haven't run into her yet.
I know.
But you
But,
will.
but I will. She's out there, unfortunately. So it's 2 people that they're out there, and it's that trauma has affected them, right?
And Jessica has 2 boys and a little girl. The little girl's 3 years old, I believe, right now. And I don't know. It gets to me sometimes because my aunt sometimes has her, and sometimes Jessica picks her up. Jessica's in no way, shape, or form mentally stable, financially stable. Sometimes, she's at parks, she's in different areas that are not so safe, and she has a 3-year-old with her.
God knows what's happening to her too.
And it's just, I just feel like, for example, me, like, I haven't gone to therapy, but I always said, like, I wasn't gonna let the past ruin my future. I felt like I had control over my future, not my past, not him, or not Jennifer's brother. They weren't gonna ruin my future. They weren't gonna dictate what life I was gonna live, because life's so short. And I always put that in my mind, like, look where he's at. Why would I let him, if he already ruined a small part of my past, why am I gonna give him the power to ruin my future? And after I became a mom, I always said that I was always gonna try my hardest and do everything I could to give my kids the best, and always just not let that ruin.
And I think you've done a really good job of overcoming and living that, what you told yourself a long time ago. I'm not going to let anybody ruin my future. Mm-hmm. You're accomplishing it. You're doing a great job of it. But why, you both are, but why is it that Jessica and Jennifer weren't able to do that?
I just feel like when somebody is abused by, their father, and they don't have, a good support system. For example, mom tells you, oh, be quiet, you're lying, don't ever say that. I just feel like they're stuck. Like, who do I go to? If mom doesn't believe me, dad's not protecting me, dad's hurting me, what
These
do
are
I
the
do?
people that are supposed to protect you at all times, no matter what. And these are the people that have affected them the most out of anyone, I think. Which I think leads them to where they're at.
And older sisters in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like for Jennifer's the smallest out of 4, and older sister's not there to support. Oldest brother is in jail. It's just, who does she have? Who does she have to support her? And I feel like when she had her kids, the little girl first, I feel like she tried for a little bit, to change. But being around the wrong people led her to be at where she's at right now.
So that's where she's at now, her and Jessica, but where do you think they'll be in the future?
At this point, I feel like Jennifer you know, I mean, I hope, you know, that she's so young. She's so, it's never late, you know, for her to change. She's so young. She's beautiful, and she's, oh my gosh.
Don't cry. I think that if they don't change and they don't get the right support, they're gonna either end up dead or, I mean, in jail, which is better. For me, I feel like if they're in jail, it's better because at least they get clean, and if they're there for 4 or 5 years, better for them. Fortunately, their Jennifer's children, they ended up in a really good foster home.
They got adopted.
They got adopted. The
Yeah.
same parent adopted the
All
twins
three.
and the oldest. They're all together.
Okay, good.
The chances of these children, once they're, you know, taken away, of ending up in the same home,
It's
very
hard.
slim. And they ended up in. I used to work for CPS as well. I did a lot of like visits and stuff like that. I was a case aide, and I used to see these kids and what they went through, and the chances of them ending up together were slim. They were fortunate enough to end up together with the same mom.
That's a
So
good thing.
It's a good thing.
It's going to give them a chance to be successful in life,
Absolutely.
right? To kind of a little bit of normalcy for their childhood and upbringing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope that Jennifer wakes up. It's possible. Recovery is possible for anybody. Even though she's been out there for what, 5 years?
Yeah.
5 years and lost her children and definitely out of it, right? And right now she's incarcerated.
Yes.
It's possible that she can recover, go to treatment, and just get help for that trauma. A therapist, some type of therapy, right?
Yeah.
There's
I just feel like
so
they
much-
keep masking it over and over, and they just want to like address the root, the cause of it. I feel like if they did that, they'd be
Things
able.
could come around
yeah.
for them. I believe that too.
Yeah.
Especially Jennifer. Honestly, with Jessica, I don't feel like it's so much that she has that opportunity of like, you know, getting help and coming around, because drugs have affected her a lot, like
I know.
mentally.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, she's still there. You can hold a conversation
Yeah.
with her.
Jessica, not so much.
When I saw Jennifer, she looked like she had just gone out into the streets, clean.
Yeah.
Her hair, she's just looking nice, you know.
She
And
tries.
so, it's unfortunate because she's so gentle and sweet and nice.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate that these drugs just cause you to become a different person. You lose your soul. Jennifer's in there, the Jennifer you know is in there, but that drug is just, she picked the worst drug, you know?
And I just feel like she doesn't have nowhere to go, because mom doesn't even has a place to stay.
She doesn't have a home.
Mom doesn't have a home.
If Jennifer got out today and called you guys, said, hey, I'm ready to turn my life around,
I'd
would you
help her.
guys
She
help
would
her?
help her.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I told her that I can help her, and she doesn't even have to worry about it. Like, I'd cover everything to get her treatment, to get her help here. I can't give her money, like I've told her, but I can help her.
Yeah. They a lot of people will say, you know what, why don't you help them? You know, help them. And to you and I, help is one thing. To them, help is a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Help to them is, you know, give me $100, give me a room, you know, give me a hotel room, give me stuff like that. Whereas we're thinking about treatment, you know,
Yeah.
a shelter, you know, clothes, food.
Yeah.
But those are things they don't think about that much, you know, because they're deep into that addiction. And I just want to make sure that people understand that your message today is for folks that unfortunately go through these traumatic instances in their lives. Say something. Tell somebody.
Right.
You tell your
So
mom and she doesn't
important.
believe you, go tell somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly. Until someone listens and believes you and do something about it. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, my mom said to be quiet, or the person abusing me said to be quiet, so I'm just not going to say anything. You know, 10, 15 years go by, and then you end up in the streets, or you, I don't know, in our case, fortunately ended up in good situations, but that's not always the case. So,
Yeah.
A lot of times it's not the case, you know, because a lot of people blame themselves. Like, right?
Exactly.
I, as the victim, I did something wrong.
Right.
So I'm just gonna, not tell anybody because I don't want to hurt anybody. But by not telling anybody, that perpetrator moves on to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that person doesn't tell anybody and moves on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that
They get
silence
away with
needs to
it.
stop. That silence needs to stop, especially in the Hispanic community.
Yes. We were just talking about
Especially
that.
in the Hispanic community, because we're so conservative, so quiet,
Yeah,
so.
nobody can know, brush it under the mat.
Yep, nobody can
Never
go, oh, how
happened.
embarrassing, right? It's an embarrassment to the family and this and that, so we can't have that. So let's just ignore it, right? Like it didn't happen, right? That's not right, and that's what Hispanic people need to understand, because I've heard this story too many times, where we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know what tools or where to go to, how to cope with this. As a mom or a lady that's married to a perpetrator, we need to empower her and let her know that that's not right what
Yeah,
he
exactly.
did. So that shame that she's feeling, that hurt, and her wanting to brush it under the rug.
Yeah.
No, you're creating more victims in the future, more harm.
That's very true.
And so that's something that we need to talk about, be more bold about, because you're not the only ones.
Yeah.
I've heard of this from a lot of people.
Moms tend to be like, no, it's not true. You're lying.
They
You
go
would
into
never do
denial.
that.
Yeah, you're being victimized twice.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, so it's definitely then my fault. I did something wrong.
Traumatizing you even further.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's difficult to imagine, as a little girl, 6 years
Yeah.
old, going through that, and however long it happened. Maria, it happened to you, happened to Jennifer, happened to Jessica, and this perpetrator, you guys are telling me, is out of the country now, and he should be, basically he's not paying the price where he should be as far as a penitentiary,
Yeah.
but that's neither here nor there. I think it's a lesson for all of us that when we suspect, because you guys saw signs, you guys saw little signs, right?
Yeah.
A bedwetting
Yes. Jennifer wouldn't want to go home.
when she would spend the night with you guys.
Yeah. And like every summer, like on summer vacation, she'd want to stay there like every single day.
Back then, it didn't make sense to you.
No.
But
And then
now-
also like them being so little and them knowing like adult things that you're just like now
are
now that
inappropriate.
now that I'm grown, like I think about it sometimes and I'm just like, where was my mom in all this?
Right.
Like, would she not check up on us?
I guess not.
Like,
We'd go into the room and play or whatever, and God knows what would go down in that room because they wouldn't.
and I'm like, they were learning this somewhere
right.
because an innocent child shouldn't know those things.
They
Most-
were getting exposed to something.
Most likely from the perpetrator, right?
Yes.
He was grooming
Yes.
There you go. That's
Grooming.
the word. That's the word.
all of you guys
Yeah.
at an early age, showing you guys things, telling you things, and it's horrible. But you know what? I admire your strength. I admire your courage to want to come on this platform for the whole world, because you're trying to educate people. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to use something like this traumatic, a tragedy like this that's affected so many people, not just Jennifer.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys have just dealt with it differently, and that's a success story,
Yeah.
because you don't want that hanging over your head, right? You want what you went through, you want others to not go through, and
Exactly.
empower them, give them the tools, give them the courage, let them know that there's hope out there, there's help
Yes.
for them to not stay quiet and silent, because that just endangers other people, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And she was actually nervous to come here. She didn't want to. She was so nervous. I was like, no, we're going, and we're going to raise awareness and, talk about it. And especially like you said, in our, community or culture, like specifically with Hispanics, we tend to be quiet. So, if they want to reach out to you, or like if they want to reach out to us and talk about it, they want to go get, help, whatever it is, if we can put a little, something into it to help others, we are going to feel great. Like, I feel like that's how I'm going to feel better about the situation, because I know I helped other people.
I told her, I'm like, I'll go with you if it's gonna help you heal and feel better. I'll go.
Yeah, I was like, I want to talk about it. I want to, let people know that you know, it happens, and it's okay to talk about it. It's not, you know, something you need to be quiet and hold it in forever. And no, it's not fair.
You're just ruining yourself.
It's therapy. This is a therapeutic session right there, talking about the trauma from the past.
Exactly.
And giving people hope, because how many people they're gonna watch this, they're gonna know exactly what you're talking
They're
about.
going to relate.
Yeah.
They're gonna relate.
I know.
They're gonna understand, and you're gonna help them say something.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna encourage them. They're gonna be like, "Oh my God, they're right," and then they're gonna go, I don't know, tell someone, or I don't know, go to the police.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Sometimes they need a
Anything.
push from a stranger, total stranger
Oh, I
that they can
agree.
relate to. Sometimes they need. You guys didn't get that, but you guys are giving it here in this platform. And again, I admire you. I appreciate your strength to reach out to me, Maria. I appreciate your strength, Alejandra, to say, okay, I'll go with you, Maria. You know, I want to support you. But at the same time, you're really supporting yourself. You're really, this part of therapy for you as well, okay? Your cousin, Jennifer, let's cheer for her, you know, because she's a victim of all this as well. She's just dealt with it differently than you folks, right? Jessica, same thing. Another cousin, Jennifer's sister, she's out there right now in the streets right now, right? If I want to go find her, I probably could, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'll run into her, but I'll talk to her eventually. But again, victims everywhere. And let's not be victims anymore. Let's be victors.
Okay,
Maria,
I like
you're gonna
that.
you're gonna get married soon. Congratulations. Alejandra, you have 3 beautiful children. You're married. You're happy,
Yeah.
and today you're helping others
Yep.
by you're helping each other, right? You're talking to each other and supporting each other, and how many people that you'll never know that your words of encouragement is gonna help them. But there's at least one person, and you guys did your job. So when your children grow up, you're gonna show them this video of you guys helping, you know? So thank you guys very much. I really appreciate meeting you and talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up in the future, okay?
Yeah.
So Alejandra, Maria, thank
Hopefully
you very
Jennifer
much.
will be here, right?
Yes.
Talking to
Yes.
us. That'd be great,
That'd
right?
be amazing
That would.
reunion. Let's do it, okay?
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.